Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are going to tackle a grammar rule that, let's be honest, trips up a lot of us, the passive voice. But we are going to make it super simple using some amazing examples from the content creator, Mr. Rita Adele. By the end of this, you're going to be an absolute pro. So let's jump right in.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll pinpoint why the passive voice can feel so tricky. Then, I'm going to give you one golden rule that changes everything. After that, we'll do some guided practice together, step by step. Then we'll tackle those verb tenses, and finally, I'll send you off with a simple toolkit to remember it all. So first things first, let's just acknowledge it. Why is the passive voice such a pain sometimes? Well, it often feels like you're trying to solve a puzzle with all these moving parts. If you've ever felt totally lost trying to flip a sentence from active to passive, trust me, you are so not alone.
Does it just feel impossible sometimes? You know, like one of those grammar rules you can just never seem to nail down? Well, guess what? That feeling ends right here, right now. I promise you, if you stick with me, this whole thing is about to click. All right, let's get to the good stuff, your secret weapon. There is one simple golden rule, a single formula that basically unlocks the entire passive voice. Seriously, forget everything else you've heard for just a minute and focus on this. And there it is. This slide has the entire cheat code on it. The formula is this. You take the object of the sentence, you add the verb to be in whatever the correct tense is, and that's the key part, and then you follow it with the past participle. That's it. Let's see what that actually looks like. Take a look here. In the active sentence, they is the subject, right? And Spanish is the object. Now, to make it passive, we just grab that object, Spanish, and move it right to the front. Then the verb teach becomes is taught. That's our to be verb plus the past participle. See how that formula just slots right in?
Okay, theory is one thing, but let's get our hands dirty and actually do this. We're going to take 5 sentences from Mr. Rita Adele's worksheet, and we're going to convert them together one step at a time. Ready?
Here we go, our first one. She has to finish her essay by next Monday. Okay, think about our formula. What's the very first thing we need to find? Yep, you got it, the object. What is it that she has to finish? Let's walk through it. The object is her essay. The verb phrase has to finish becomes has to be finished. We can add by her if we want, and boom, our final sentence, her essay has to be finished by next Monday. See? Not so bad. Okay, number 2, they let me take the day off yesterday. Now this one's a little bit of a curveball, but it's a super important one. The object is me, which is a pronoun, so when we move it to the front to become the new subject, it has to change its form. And here's how that works. Me becomes I, and the verb let in the passive voice usually changes to was allowed to, because it really keeps that original meaning of being given permission. So the final sentence is, I was allowed to take the day off yesterday. Nicely done. All right, let's try a real classic. They delivered her new furniture yesterday. This is a perfect, straightforward, past tense sentence. You know the drill by now, right? What's the first step? Find that object. Exactly. The object is her new furniture. The verb delivered is past simple, so we need the past simple of to be, which is was, and then the past participle, delivered. The final sentence? Her new furniture was delivered yesterday. You're really getting the hang of this now. Okay, on to number 4. The mechanic at the garage serviced our car. Now this one's interesting because the subject isn't just a vague pronoun like they, it's a very specific person. And that's going to make a small difference at the end. So let's follow the steps. Our car moves to the front. Serviced becomes was serviced. But here's the key part. Since we know who did the action and that information is important, we absolutely want to include the by phrase, by the mechanic at the garage. That gives us the whole story. Last one for our practice round. They let me leave early yesterday. Hey, this should look pretty familiar, right? It's just like that second example we did. So what happens to me and what happens to the verb let? You got it. Me becomes I, and let becomes was allowed to. Our final sentence is, I was allowed to leave early yesterday. Fantastic job. You just successfully converted 5 sentences to the passive voice. That's awesome. All right, deep breath. We're heading into the part that usually scares everyone, the tenses. But I'm going to let you in on a secret. It is not as complicated as it looks. There's really only one little piece of our golden rule that ever has to change. Here's the magic trick that makes this whole thing so much easier. That past participle at the end of the phrase, words like taught or delivered or finished, it never changes. It's always the same. The only thing you ever have to worry about is changing the verb to be so it matches the tense of the original active sentence. This table right here, this is your best friend. Just look at the pattern. For present simple, teach becomes is taught. For past simple, delivered turns into was delivered. For present continuous, our building becomes is being built. See that? Present perfect, have built becomes has been built. And future simple, will open becomes will be opened. You're just matching the tense of the to-be verb. It's basically a simple matching game.
Wow, we've covered a lot. So let's boil it all down into a simple, final toolkit that you can take with you. This is your quick and dirty reference guide.
So let's wrap this all up. At the end of the day, you really just need to remember two things. First, the golden rule, object plus to be plus past participle. And second, why you'd even use it. You use it when you don't know who did the action, or when it just doesn't matter who did it, or, and this is a big one, when you want the focus to be on the action itself, not the person doing it. And here it is one more time, your visual summary chart. Honestly, this is the most important takeaway from today. Go ahead and pause here, take a screenshot, burn this pattern into your brain. This chart is your guide to getting the tense right every single time. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. You now have the tools. You've got the formula, you've got the tense map. So as you go about your day, reading the news, scrolling online, checking emails, how many active sentences can you spot and just mentally flip into the passive? The whole world is now your worksheet. Go for it, and happy practicing.